Vlad the Impaler. Dracula, known amongst certain circles. Actually, no. Vlad the Impaler was a... I'm not sure if he was a real person or he was a fictional... I think he was real, so feel free to correct me on this. But he wasn't actually Dracula. That was Bram Stoker. When Bram Stoker wrote his Dracula novel, he... Just a second, I need to turn down the volume a bit. For myself, it won't affect you. Bram Stoker, when he wrote his Dracula novel, he chose Vlad the Impaler, a real person, to basically equate his version of Dracula to, because Vlad the Impaler was a very bloodthirsty person, and, well, so was Dracula. But in most vampire lores, Vlad and Dracula have nothing to do with each other. Anyway, what the hell am I doing with this game? I don't even know what this is. A friend of mine told me I needed to play this. Pick it up and play it. So I went onto Steam and I looked, and it was 0.99 euros. So not even an entire euro. And I thought, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. I mean, okay, I'll give it a go. Doing her a favor. And I guess I'm giving my feedback on it. So, since this is basically a let's play. Because why not? So I'm gonna click new game and apparently select a character. I have no idea what this is. Explorer. As the explorer, you have knowledge of the land. You are fast, on target, and adventurous. Will you be the enemy spy or the diplomatic emissary? The soldier is fierce and strong. Fulfill your knightly duty to the kingdom or unlock your dark side and become the assassin. Or the mage is skilled and wise and supernatural. Become the high priest specializing in protective magic, or the sorcerer with a thirst for destruction. So there are stats, magic and intelligence, strength and constitution, dexterity and agility. Play style wise, I actually like the soldier most, because I am a soldier type of guy. I like brute force. I don't think I'd want to be an assassin, but priest or mage or sorcerer. What is this? Will you be the enemy spy or the diplomatic emissary? You know what? I'll pick this guy. I usually, like I said, I usually play the bruiser, the soldier, the fighter. So let's try something I never play.
My friend, I have need of your skills once again. Darkness has fallen upon the city of Istanbul. Blood paints the streets, and the cries of the dying rise from the night. The Sultan himself will not set foot within its walls until the dread curse is lifted. Holy men, knights, and inquisitors have all been sent, yet none have returned. You are the only one whom I trust to investigate this. Your cunning, your prowess, and your penchant for results are needed here more than ever. Find the source of this wickedness, and deal with it as only you can. Godspeed, my friend, and watch your back.
Right. I still have no clue what I'm going into, but Chapter 1. You pass through the gates of Istanbul on a moonless night. The lights from torches are few, and the eyes of the midnight wanderers are many. A group of guards huddle around the body of a woman, her heart ripped out and used to paint a tall, bloody 15 days on the wall behind her. The weight of fear is heavy on the streets. The scent of death haunts the tight air. It is a city under siege, and the enemy is invisible. Is this a text adventure? The artwork is nice. I'm liking it. Okay. Port Square Bazaar. Again, beautiful artwork. 1 of 15. And by the way, game options are, yeah, not a lot. So, fairly simple game. I have charm, magic, intelligence, strength, constitution, dex, and agility. And morality. Am I a vampire? I don't think I'm a vampire. Okay, well, let's just go for the port. Find a local fisherman, explore at night, or ask around for information. I'm gonna ask around for information because... Oh, wait, I do vaguely remember reading on the Steam store page that your choices matter in this game. They basically structure and shape how the game turns out for you. So I guess this is kind of important. I would ask around for information because I don't know why I would find a local fisherman. And exploring at night seems very, very unwise. So I'll ask around for information. What am I? Why am I here? I guess I'm something. You head down to the docks, intending on questioning people about the rash of horrific murders that have been happening. You can tell that the people are on edge. They're gathering in greater numbers, even during the day, but few of them will talk to you. Just as you are about to head to a different district, a chorus of gasps and shrieks erupts from further down the pier. What is that, a lamprey? That's a monstrous lamprey. It's not really a lamprey. You run towards the commotion, a crowd forming around a large fishing boat. There, caught in the net with the day's catch, is one of the strangest creatures you have ever seen. It looks like a cross between a fish and a serpent, but it is over 12 feet long. Its eyes are deep red, its powerful jaws lined with impossibly large fangs. Several people cross themselves, despite the fact that it is clearly dead. The man next to you, who's a merchant you've seen in the bazaar, says, "Never did I believe that I would see a Judas fish during my lifetime. I'll pay you 40 gold coins for it." The fisherman accepts, but says he won't touch it. The merchant then says, "Another 30 silver coins to the man who will carry it back to my tent." Yes, I'm going to use this game to practice voice acting. Deal with it. Okay, so, do I want to take him up on the offer? That's 70 coins. That's probably a lot. I don't know. How do I... I'll take him up on it. "I'll carry it," you say to the merchant. You say the merchant thanks... What? You say the merchant thanks you profusely. Okay. Writing is a bit janky. The fisherman releases the net, spilling the array of fish onto the pier. The Judas fish unrolls to its full dead length, amid several other gasps. You walk up to it. If you didn't know any better, you'd say that it was looking directly at you with its dead red eyes. You then draw your weapon and slice its head off. The crowd shrieks again as the body suddenly flops and flails. The beast clearly only having been playing dead. Blood sprays everywhere, followed by the last meal that the creature had, a chewed up and desiccated fisherman. The merchant looks at you, enraged. "I did not say to butcher it." "That's true," you reply, resheathing your weapon. You never did specify the condition you wanted it in when you got it to your tent. You pick up the bleeding head with one hand and sling the long body over your shoulder with the other. The merchant is fuming, but seems to be a little afraid of you now. He curses silently and leads the way. Okay, so basically I'm a dick, but I gain constitution from it. Okay. Can I go back to the port? Apparently I can. Oh, and I got new options now. Visit the office of the dockmaster. You know what? Square. Buy a falafel. Wander at nightfall. Search for the head of the guard. Find a bookseller. Get some baklava? What am I gonna do? So I'm actually thinking I want to try and find a local fisherman. Maybe I can ask about this weird fish? They might know something. You make your way through Port of Istanbul as the sun goes down. There's a fisherman who may have information on people being sold and smuggled out of the port. As you search for his berth along the multitude of piers, you hear a voice calling out to you. Turning, you find a woman, cinched into a European dress, waving at you from a docked ship. "Pardon me," she says in a German accent. "Would you have a moment to assist my lady?" Curious, you call back. "What seems to be the problem?" "My Contessa is ill and needs help leaving the boat. Would you please be so kind?" I mean, why not? I mean, I don't want to be a dick, right? Sure, I'll help. I know it's a bad idea, but like, you know, why wouldn't I? You board the ship. The lady takes you to the main... The writing is... But, okay. You board the ship, and the lady takes you to the main cabin. There, reclining on a large bed, is one of the most beautiful young women you've ever seen. Her flowing brunette locks dance across the pillow as she turns toward you. I apologize, she says, but I haven't the stomach for sea travel. Could you please carry me to the pier? It would be my honor, you reply, gathering up her lithe form in your strong arms. Her delicate hands drape around your neck as you carry her off the boat and onto the pier. The carriage has arrived since you went aboard, and you carefully deposit the Contessa inside, next to a black woman in a colorful turban. There you are, Contessa, you say, but then realize that you haven't been properly introduced yet. Her eyes meet yours. Karnstein, she replies. Carmilla Karnstein of Styria. You kiss her hand in the European fashion. Welcome to Istanbul, Contessa, you say. She leans in and kisses you on the cheek. Then, the brutish coachman cracks his whip, and the horses pull the coach away into the city. When it has gone, you resume your search for the fisherman. You find him 2 piers down and ask what he knows about people being bought and smuggled. I'm not talking to any lover or the Earp here, he hisses. What do you mean, you ask? Earp here, he spits back. Vampire. They cannot cross running water except at noon and midnight, unless someone carries them over it. He crosses himself and walks away from you. Charm -1. I just helped the vampire. Oh no. Oh dear me. Oh, I guess that was a mistake. Search for the head of the guard. Okay, I want to search for the head of the guard and tell him that I just accidentally helped the vampire. You are walking through the square, searching for the head of the district guard, when you pass by a man... The fuck is this word? Proselytizing? I have no idea what that means. From the top of a crate. As you walk by, the man shouts and points at you. And that is why God punishes us, foreigners in armor with their idolatrous gods and their wicked schemes. Get thee hence, heathen! Get ye back to your land of sin and fornication. Yes, only a fool would claim to know what God thinks. And only a God-forsaken atheist would challenge the word of the Almighty, he replies the preacher, getting even more fired up. Here we have to find vanity and arrogance of the heathen mind. Only he who is ignorant of the path of... What is that tattoo, you ask? The preacher glares at you. That tattoo on your right arm. You continue. I assume that's the jackal symbol of the Bosphorus Brotherhood? Maybe you were a member. Maybe you still are. Either way, that's a sin. Leviticus 19:28. Do not cut your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks upon yourself, for I am the Lord. If you are truly God's mouthpiece on earth, then why are you sinning against him, here in the middle of this holy city? The preacher begins to reply, but the crowd is now booing him. You can feel his hot stare on your back as you turn to leave. It was petty to even engage the fool in conversation. Having been forced to study the scriptures for years at the orphanage, you have an unfair advantage, especially over someone not educated enough to know that you shouldn't lecture strangers on something you yourself have never read. Oh, chapter 1, end. That was it. I lost a point of charm and gained 2 points of constitution. Can I spend them? No. Or maybe? No? Chapter 2. The evidence you've collected lays spread out on the table before you. Your meal from the tavern downstairs sits half-eaten as you try to make sense of the results of your encounters. That's when you sense the presence behind you. On instinct, you spin to the side, just as a knife passes through the air where you'd been standing. All of your weapons are across the room, save one that no one ever expects. You. With singular speed and deft strikes, you grapple with the hooded assassin, keeping the jagged knife just beyond the slice of your flesh until, at last, you gain that crucial advantage and flip your attacker over onto the table, breaking it to splinters in the process. The assassin lies still. Pulling back his mask, you find a horrible slackness in his head, the result of a broken neck. His face is European. Around his neck is a silver cross with a tiny dragon curled around it. In his pocket, you find a small bound copy of the Exorcist's doctrine, a piece of folded paper. It is a letter with the name of the inn where you are staying, as well as your room number. Excellent, you think to yourself. If people are trying to kill me, then I must be getting somewhere. You may now enter Catacombs and Basilica. Ooh. I haven't been to... Why would I go into the depths? Not yet. And who's trying to murder me, and why? And how do they know where I was? I don't know what baklava is. You are wandering through the Istanbul bazaar, eating a piece of honeyed baklava, when you notice a little girl watching you from a few tents away. She looks as though she's coveting the sticky dessert that is getting all over your fingers. You give her a slight smile of condolence. Oh my god. Sorry. Then, hands suddenly emerge from a secret fold in the tent behind the girl, pulling her inside without a sound. Of all the abductions that you've been following in the city, you never thought you'd actually witness one happening. You walk over to the front of the tent, finishing off the last of your dessert. "Welcome, my friend," says a smiling merchant in a turban. "Are you in need of a lamp or oil?" Oh shit. Tell the merchant that whosoever is holding a girl in the tent had better release her right now before you summon the city guard. Force your way inside and handle the kidnapper directly. Now let's threaten them. Let's be civil. The merchant's eyes darkened and he says, "We are paid up for the month already. Will not submit to your order's bullying." This grabs your interest. Clearly, someone higher up in the order is running a protection money scheme where people who break the law can continue without being handed over as long as they pay regularly. And this man thinks you're with the order. You look the merchant dead in the eyes, saying, "You think this is bullying? Want to pay triple next time? Give me the girl." The merchant nods in acquiescence, motions for you to enter the tent. You do so, drawing your weapon. The girl the man who took her now are nowhere to be found. The girl and the man who took her are okay. They've clearly escaped while the merchant kept you busy. The next thing you hear is the merchant calling to the city guards, saying that there is a thief in his tent. You've been outconned this time, and you need to escape before the guards find you and decide to cut off your hands. With minimal searching, you find the secret fold in the back where the kidnapper must have escaped, and you slip through. Your heart breaks for the girl as you disappear into the crowd, vowing that the merchant and his accomplices will be brought to justice. Okay. Gained some agility, lost some charm. Basilica. Let's just visit it. You are visiting the Basilica before sundown when you notice a group of altar boys gathered around a corner. They seem to be up to something, but you can't tell what. When the priest finally calls for them, they run off, giggling and shoving each other. You approach the small table where they had been gathered around an open box. Peering inside, you find a mouse. The mouse is desperately trying to get out of the box, but the boys have covered the poor thing in lamp oil, so it's just slipping helplessly off the sides. I'll free it, poor little mouse. Remembering the mouse that you used to feed at the orphanage, you pull the little creature out of the box and put it in your pocket. Once you're outside of the Basilica, you set it free in an alley. As it scampers away, you remember how difficult it can be for a creature so small to get out of going to church. Ah, well, I got my lost charm back. I've already eaten. I don't want to eat again. I don't want to get fat. Let's just wander at nightfall. The square is quiet at night. Here and there, the late-night wanderers move like dark ghosts toward their destinations, keeping mostly to themselves. You walk among them, unable to sleep, attempting to find the connections to all the varied pieces of the puzzle you've gathered. A soft clicking sound drifts across the square. You recognize it from your nights in the Lebanese desert. You gaze off toward the Tower of Galata. After a few moments, your eyes detect a swarm of bats circling their way across the square, probably snatching up moths in the warm night. The sight reminds you of happier times, the warmth of a body next to you on the open sands. But as you watch the cloud of bats, you realize that their movement is strange. It almost seems like they're spiraling around so tightly that they're collapsing in on another. You blink in disbelief as the swirling cloud condenses into the form of a man dressed in flowing black. I'm not going to attack him. Approach the man. You walk toward the man. He looks at you with eyes that burn white beneath flowing black hair. You there, you say. Oh, that was it. Why? What are you doing here? I am taking in the sights, he replies in a low voice. And yourself? You fall into step beside him as the two of you walk south. I'm here because Istanbul is slipping into darkness, you say, and someone needs to save it. The man nods. Indeed, it seems someone should. You glance over at him. Are you one of those dark powers, you ask? He doesn't quite smile when he replies. I am a dark power, but not the one you speak of. Should I be wary of you anyway, you ask? If you are wise, he replies. But I will not be here long. There are many other threats to this place that you should spend your time investigating if you truly wish to save this city. I'm listening, you say. Start with the Basilica, he replies. I was once told that the worst men in Istanbul use the east entrance. I'll look into that, you say. Anything else? He glances over at you with his ghostly white eyes. Yes, he replies. Given the choice between a sword and a flower, always choose the flower. You look at him again, confused. He simply nods, and then is suddenly 20 yards away from you. You watch as he leaves the square and wanders up into the night neighborhood. Just who was he? I hope my attempt at voice acting is not too toe cringing. I'm kind of cringing my own toes, to be honest. Seems I did kind of okay. The orphan with the eye patch scurries soundlessly across the dark rooftops to where you are perched.
My imam says that the amulet you drew from the symbol of the Holy Order of the Knights of the Dragon.
You eye the smudge-faced child and ask, How can that be? Why would a holy knight try to kill me? I'll ask him about the cross. You show the silver amulet to the orphan, allowing him to look it over.
My imam says that the symbol here belongs to the Holy Order of the Knights of the Dragon.
You are the smudge face. What? That's the exact same thing. No, whatever. The orphan smiles with a few missing teeth and says,
Crusaders trying to kill you, eh? Now, you know how it is to live in Istanbul.
You throw a gold coin to the child. I'm horrible at this. You throw a gold coin to the child. He nods in appreciation, then disappears silently across the rooftops. You hold the silver pendant up and look at it, dangling against the skyline of the city below. Order of the Dragon. You may now enter the palace. So the vampire dude said something about the Basilica. I'm gonna walk through the main room. The Basilica is enormous. Its vaulted ceilings arc high above massive pillars of stone. You walk along the far wall, past the kneeling faithful of the city, who are praying for relief. In a remote corner, beneath a golden reliquary, you see an old woman slowly putting out candles with her fingers. Why would I stop her? I'm gonna ask her if I can help. Can I perhaps get you your own candles? You ask. The old woman replies in a cracked voice, saying,
Each of these was lit before the eyes of Saint Lucy, who are here in this shrine. She sees the prayers of all who kneel in this spot, yet there have been prayers of late which are ugly and must not be answered.
When the old woman turns, you see that there are hollow sockets where her eyes should be. Pointing a bony finger at your chest, she says,
But you see things too, don't you? Be warned. The ghosts of this city do not like to be seen. But like St. Lucy, that one must keep their eyes open.
She then turns and hobbles off down the aisle. That was creepy. Should I go into... Why would I go into the catacombs? What are my options? I think I'll explore at night. Oh shit. While walking through the seedier parts of the port of Istanbul at night, you stumble across a horrific sight. A young woman has been mutilated in the middle of a dark alley. Her internal organs removed and positioned in a circle around her. Her clothes suggest that she was a working girl, one of the many whores that frequent the docks at night. This is the 12th whore who has been killed in recent weeks, all of them butchered in a ritualistic way. But this is the first body you have actually seen with your own eyes. The look of terror is still etched on her soft face. Of all the murderers and disappearances happening in the city, these seem to be the most consistent, the most deliberate. It is a lead that you can firmly grasp onto. I guess I'll try and analyze, right? Or should I try and catch? No, I'm being the diplomat. I'm not the soldier, I'm not the bruiser. One of the booksellers in the port specializes in obscure occult texts. When you show him a drawing of the murdered girl, he fetches a very old book. Translated from the Greek, it is called The 13 Names of God. In it are listed 13 macabre rituals for sacrificing sinners in order to begin the countdown of revelations. The 12th ritual describes the exhumation of the sinner's internal organs, arranged in a circle around the body to invoke the second to last name of the Almighty. The overweight bookseller then shivers when he tells you that the butcher 3 doors down has recently been coming into the bookshop. This is one of the books he's been reading. A butcher fits with the way the killings seem to have been happening. You pay the man a visit just as he's locking up his store for the night. Dragging him into the alley, you confront him. The wiry Turkish man denies being the killer. He says that he's been reading the occult books in order to try and learn what evil has taken over this city. You question him about the whores. He lets it slip that he knows the fourth one had her throat removed, only to be stuffed with her fingers. You drag the man to the city guard and turn him in, telling them your evidence. They immediately lock the butcher up. You are not convinced that he's the man who did it, but if no more killings happen while he's in jail, then you will have proven right. Mag. What's mag? Oh, magic. Find a bookseller. Palace. Assisted in an excavation. You arrive at the palace in a coach, having been summoned by the Sultan's Master of Antiquities. You are ushered inside the gates, escorted to one of the far corners of the palace grounds. There seems to be some sort of excavation going on there, yet there appear to be a large number of Janissary guards present for a mere hole in the ground. An educated man in a white turban approaches you and shakes your hand. "Thank you for coming," he says. "I am Master of the Antiquities to His Excellency. I know this is unorthodox, but I was told to use any resources necessary. I've heard that you have experience in these matters." What matters, you ask? "Let me show you," he replies. The man then leads you down a series of ladders into the ground. At the very bottom, you find yourself in what appears to be a stone tunnel of some ancient architecture. "This has apparently been down here the entire time," the Master of Antiquities says, leading you by the torchlight down the tunnel. "We were digging in order to build an underground storeroom for preservations and perishables when we broke through into this tunnel." You look at the reliefs of winged monsters carved into the walls. "These are Persian, you say?" "Yes, I know," he replies, "but these are not." He stops and raises his torch. The tunnel ends in two black iron doors. Molded into the surface are strange hieroglyphs. "Do you recognize them?" he asks. A chill runs through your body as you realize where you are standing. "You need to get your men out of here," you say. "Why? What does this mean?" he asks. You turn to him, look him dead in the eyes. "These are the gates of Gog and Magog," you say. "They're demons of the ancient world, locked away until the end of days, when they will come forth and do battle with the kingdom of heaven. You cannot open these doors." The Master of Antiquities nods. "It is as I feared then." "Nonsense," says one of the lesser viziers standing behind you. "The Sultan is ordained to rule by the wisdom of Allah. God would not allow this. Excellent to build a palace on top of an unholy place." The vizier brushes past you towards the doors. I'll grab him. I'll stop him. You grab the vizier by the arm and spin him around. Did it not occur to you that this was the intent of Allah? Did it not occur to you that this was the intent of Allah for the Sultan to build this palace here in order to safeguard the world from opening these doors? The vizier stares you down. "I don't know who you are," he says, "and you are not welcome here." The Master of Antiquities then grabs the vizier's arm and says, "His Excellent..." How did I do that voice again? "His Excellency named me to handle this discovery. My authority in this matter is in his... His Excellency named me to handle this discovery. My authority in this matter is his own. We leave, we bury this place forever." The vizier sneers at the both of you, then turns to storm off. The Master of Antiquities turns to you and says, "Thank you for coming and verifying what I dreaded. You have done His Excellency a great service." As payment, I give you a standing invitation to visit the Royal Archives when you wish. May it aid you in your research of hideous darkness that plagues our city." You shake his hand, thanking him. As you follow him back up to the tunnel, you think of what a boon that sort of access will be to your investigations. And yet, as you look over your shoulder at the long, dark corridor, you can't help but wonder how everything would have turned out differently had the wrong man found the gates first. As you are walking back to the inn, a guard approaches you and offers you protection. You respectfully decline, but his words still ring in your ears as you continue on. An important emissary such as yourself shouldn't travel alone. It seems I'm doing kind of okay, I think. Except for the voice acting, that's not going so well. You descend the cramped staircase below the city streets. At the bottom, you are faced with a heavily armored man in a dark hood. If you're right, everything you've witnessed so far is to be believed, then the answers you will need are on the other side of the gate that this man is guarding. If you are wrong, then he will certainly kill you. Okay. What are my stats? I've got 7 charm. Should I try and charm him? Let's try and charm him. Guards can be a real problem when it comes to getting into somewhere you shouldn't be. Fortunately, they're often easily outsmarted. As you confidently stride up to the guard, you pull a piece of blank parchment from behind your back and fold it up to look like a letter. Message for your master at arms, sir. You call out as you near the hooded man, folding the parchment up and waving it before putting it back in your pocket. Give it here. The guard sighs, holding out his hand for the letter. No can do. I have direct orders to take this direct... Oh, that's me. No can do. I have direct orders to take this directly to whomever is in charge of your weapons. No middleman. Something about intercepted shipments. Something. The guard eyes you with warily, but his body is relaxed. Intercepted shipments, you say? He asks curiously. Curious getting too greedy, you sneer, gritting your teeth. Oh, curious getting too greedy. You sneer, gritting your teeth. He even gives a sympathetic smile as you stride past him, entering deeper beneath the city and into the inner sanctum. Hooded men and women kneel in rows, murmuring twisted prayers to the silver dragon crosses in their hands. On the walls hang bodies, mutilated in ritualistic ways, with symbols painted in their own blood. Symbols that you have seen all across your encounters in the city. Symbols from the exorcist's doctrine. You dare not stay long enough to be recognized. Besides, you now know who's behind the atrocities. The question on your mind as you duck up a shadowy staircase is, why? Yeah. Okay. 10 of 5. 15. Oh, turns. These are turns. Search the cellar. Or look for No, I want to search the cellar. The innkeeper's daughter went missing after church services this morning. It's another abduction of many, but you knew this girl. You liked her. That makes finding her all the more important. As you enter the Basilica, you head to the last place anyone saw her, lighting a candle at the shrine of the Black Madonna. You examine the area carefully, looking for any sign as to her whereabouts. When you move the kneeling bench out of the way, you're surprised to find a narrow grating in the floor. It's little more than a vent, but it does open from the inside. With a well-placed kick, you knock it open and climb down into the floor. The crawl space is tight, but it soon widens into the Basilica cellar. There, a makeshift kitchen set up, there is a priest sitting at the table, sipping on a bowl of stew. The things you've witnessed since coming to Istanbul cause your mind to jump to the absolute worst conclusion. You ask, "Father?" The priest yelps as he turns around to face you, a long chain shuffling with his foot across the floor. You take a step forward. "Father, what kind of stew is that?" The priest gets a wide smile on his face, marked by gaps of missing teeth, and says, "Heathen stew." Okay. You know what? I'm conflicted now. Do I go back? I have a feeling the head priest knows. I think the head priest is in on this. Maybe I should. I'm gonna kill him. Fuck it. You are merciless. Your weapon plunges into the cannibal priest's face. His blood sprays around the cellar as he flounders. When he finally collapses, dead and gurgling, you fish the ribbon that had always been in the girl's hair out of the stew. You only wish you could forget the image of her eyeball floating next to it. Okay, that's fucking gruesome. So I lost some con, but I gained some strength. Okay, square. Okay, I'll find someone to translate the runes you found. Alright, yeah. You have come to the city square in order to find a man who can translate the symbols you found written in blood the other night. As you are searching for the rug where he usually sits, you hear a sudden commotion erupt from the crowd nearby. Shouts and cries of horror go up as you press your way through to see what's happening. There, sitting in a pool of his own blood, is a man tracing symbols onto the ground around him. His belly has been cut open. He has a dirty, jagged knife in his hand. The symbols look similar to the ones you found the other night. As you step forward, "What are you doing?" you ask. A pained smile crosses his crazy mouth as he replies, "Only what the king of the catacombs tell me to." The man's tongue is swollen and black inside his mouth. "Always he tells me. Speak to them with my words," he says. "Show them that I yet rule the beneath." He sticks the knife back into his stomach with a painful cry and pulls it out again, freeing more blood. "Have you seen him?" the man asks through clenched teeth. I think I have seen him. I think it was the vampire I met, so I'm gonna say yes. The man looks up at you with sudden compassion in his eyes. You have, I can see it. And you know that there is only one way to truly leave his service. You squint your eyes. "And what is that?" you ask. The crazy man's eyes turn even crazier. Then he sticks out his hideous, mummified tongue and cuts it out with the filthy knife. The crowd screams in even more terror. Then the man holds it out in his hand. A smile crosses his bleeding mouth. He makes a sound that resembles a proud laugh. Then he collapses onto the ground, dead. You are absolutely horrified and completely disgusted by the entire scene, but nothing could have prepared you for his body to immediately erupt in maggots. The people in the crowd who are not already vomiting flee as fast as they can, shouting prayers of protection. You cannot believe your own eyes. In mere minutes, the man's body is completely consumed, leaving only a skeleton behind. The only part that remains untouched is the black tongue, lying in the skeleton's desiccated hand. Wow, okay, that costs me some magic, I guess. What should I do? Search for the black tent. That sounds important. In a dark corner of the bazaar, there is a black tent. The rumor says that it only appears at night, but the smell of frankincense is always heavy around it. After 3 nights of searching, you finally spy it at the end of a closely packed row. Summoning your courage, you pull back the beads and enter. Dim candles flicker within. Chests and racks are filled with all manner of strange and exotic items. The thick incense begins to make your head swim as you peruse jars with tiny creatures inside, books with strange covers, ornate boxes, all locked with tiny keyholes. I'm running out of voices to do. What is it that you seek? comes a sinister voice. That wasn't sinister. You turn to find a man in black robes and a black turban suddenly standing there. Something about his eyes seem wrong. What is this place, you ask? Who are you? The man in the turban says, I am a merchant like any other, but I only raise my tent in a place that has fallen far enough into darkness for my wares to be traded. If you have I have something for you as well, but first you must tell me what you seek. I guess I seek to save Istanbul? Or has this become a personal vendetta? Save Istanbul. That's a bit vague. I'll go for this one. I'll punish. I've become a punisher. The man nods from beneath his turban and walks over to a shelf. He unlocks a wooden box with a small key and turns to hand it to you. Cautiously, you open the box. Inside, reclining on a bed of red velvet, is a spike made of pure silver. Strange markings have been stamped into the side of it. What's it for, you ask? Your enemy, he replies, and perhaps for your friend as well. Your head is starting to swim from the incense. What do I owe you for it, you ask? Oh, I have already taken payment, he replies. You don't remember anything after that when you sit up in bed the next morning. Rubbing your throbbing head, you pull the box over and open it. The silver stake just lies there. Strangely, you feel better armed than you did when you first arrived in Istanbul. Wow, okay, what the fuck? Oh, okay, it's the end of the chapter. My voice is starting to die, I can feel. I'm not trained to do this stuff. Your weapon clangs sharply against the sword of the bearded knight. A shingle gives way under your foot, and you barely manage to adjust your weight before you slide off the roof to certain death. The knight presses his attack. You're forced backwards along the dome of the Hagia Sophia Mosque. Invoke wind magic? Can I do that? I'll disarm him and hold him for questioning. Yes. You run to the knight to offer him a hand up, knowing that he has dropped his weapon and might have valuable information. Your name will be added to the list of the judged. Oh. I don't want to do voices. My throat's hurting. The knight threatens. You will... I can't do that, sorry. You will join your heathen brothers and sisters, impaled on the spikes of hell, and your sultan will at last feel the fires of the master he serves. With that, his hand slips, and he plummets, screaming, to the earth below. As you look down on his broken body, impaled onto one of the spikes of the mosque's fence, you realize what his final words portend. They are going to assassinate the sultan. Okay. See if I can do this before my voice completely cracks. Explore the kitchen. Yeah, maybe they're gonna poison the sultan, who knows. You gain entrance to the palace on the final day of Ramadan, where there is to be an enormous feast to break the month of fasting. While there, you manage to sneak off into the shadows in order to investigate some suspicions you have about the Sultan's advisors. As you are passing the extensive kitchens, one of the cooks happens to make eye contact with you. "My friend," he says. You look at them cautiously before realizing that he's the father of a child you rescued from kidnappers. He comes up to you and shakes your hand profusely. "Not a day goes by that I do not thank God for you in my prayers." You smile at him, hoping to end the conversation before anyone takes notice of you. "Please," he says, leading you into the kitchen. "I have no money to offer, but I can give you something which is better than money." He pulls you over to a cauldron of simmering stew doughs and to a cauldron of simmering stew and doles out a small bowl for you. This brew is made only for the Sultan. It is a special soup which he takes every night before bed. It has magical properties. Just this once, between you and I offer it to you as thanks for rescuing my child. Yeah, okay, YOLO, let's do it. Thank you, you say, and taste it. The broth is strong and full of spices, but it is very good. As you drink it, you ask the man why it is so special. It strengthens virility so that the Sultan can keep his wives and concubines happy in bed. That was not the answer you expected, but certainly a little more virility can never hurt. Thank you very much, you reply, handing the bowl back to him. It is the least I can do, he replies. Thank you for bringing back my son. You shake his hand and then leave the kitchen, continuing on your way. You do notice that you feel somewhat stronger than you did when you entered. You feel a sense of confidence, a certain level of prowess. Whatever was in that bowl was certainly powerful. Strength. Okay, I'm getting quite strong. I think I'll go to the Basilica and wait till nightfall. Maybe I'll meet the vampire. Walking past the Basilica at night, you think you catch a faint muffled cry. It seems to have come from somewhere above. You look up at the looming towers. You strain to hear anything else, but no sound drifts down. You watch carefully, but the moon is behind the clouds. You can't make anything out. Still, something sinister is happening up there. You can feel it. I'm gonna climb, because I have 11 strength and pretty decent dex. I'm figuring I can do this. You are merciless. Your weapon plunged... What? Okay, that was a mistake. Luckily, a random drain spout finds your flailing hand. You manage to pull yourself up. The writing is... there's so many mistakes. Oh well. By the time you get on the roof, you are exhausted and trembling from the exertion. You catch your breath and stand to full your full height? Okay. Just as the sound of flapping fabric catches your ears. You turn as the moon breaks through the clouds. You see it, rising up from the roof of the Basilica, concealed from the sight lines of the street below. A 12-foot tall pike, and on that pike is a man, fully impaled, his blood running down the shaft onto the shingles. He's dead now, probably was before you came over the roof. Unfortunately, searching through his pockets revealed nothing. There's no indication of who the man was, but something about the way he was killed, the message it conveys, haunts you on your descent back to the streets. Okay. Let's go into the cistern. Why not? You are chasing a knight through the town square. He's fast, but you manage to keep him in your sights until he disappears through an archway into a small building. You follow him in, only to find a staircase leading down. The air is moist as you leap down the steps. You are obviously descending into one of the city's many cisterns. When you emerge from the stairs, however, you are struck by the size of the underground space. Pillars stretch in all directions like a forest of stone, all surrounded by several feet of standing water. People mill about along the walkways, situated just above the waterline, trying to hide from the afternoon sun. You spot the knight as he reaches the end of the walkway, only to discover that there is no exit in that direction. He turns. Your gaze meets his across the crowd. You give him a consolatory smile. He made a bad choice, and now you have him. He smiles back. then reaches over and grabs a chain on the wall, pulling it down hard. A thundering sound echoes through the cavernous chamber. Your blood runs cold as you realize that the cistern is now flooding. People scream. Water rises around your feet. I feel like I should be the good guy and try and save people, but on the other hand, I can't save all of them. How would I be able to save all of them? I should stop him. Without a second thought, you dive over the edge of the railing and into the rising waters. You swim under the surface toward where the knight is stripping off his armor for his swim to freedom. As you go, you notice that the base of one of the pillars is actually a large stone sculpture of the head of Medusa. More than that, it is upside down. If there were another head of Medusa turned on its side, then that would mean there was a secret temple nearby. Then you spy that very thing on another pillar. Another pillar has a Medusa's head for a base. It is on its side. The knight dives into the water just as you rise out of it, your weapon drawn. He skewers himself chin first into the blade, impaling his brain in the process. You wrench your weapon free of his head, clearly unable to ask him any questions. Then you take a deep breath and dive under again. Following the gaze of the sideways Medusa head, you come to the far wall. As the water level rises to the ceiling above, the mechanism for opening the secret door is triggered sure enough. A hidden panel in the masonry moves backwards with the change in pressure. You swim through into a narrow shaft leading up. You've trained your lungs to handle long stretches underwater, but you are really pushing it as you paddle upward. Finally, you break the surface and find yourself in a small pool. It is being fed by the floodwaters on the other side of the wall. Once the cistern drains, the shaft will empty again. In the meantime, though, you are profoundly stricken by the beauty of the chamber you've emerged into. Twin statues of Medusa hold an urn above a small altar. On either side of the room are stone benches where the priests of her cult would sit during the secret masses. And on the altar are 3 golden instruments: a bell, an egg, and a coiled serpent. They are treasures that have not been seen since the days of Aristotle, lost to the world now. Here, found by you. It is the discovery of a lifetime, a thrilling validation of your many years as an explorer. Wow, okay, nice. Chapter 6. Sultan Mehmed II is just sitting down into the water of the palace's grand bath when one of the maidens attending him loops a length of silver cord around his throat. Slice the assassin's head off. I guess I could. I have a lot of strength. I have decent agility, I think. Throw a dagger. I'll throw a dagger. Yeah. You leap from behind the tapestry where you were hiding and hurl a dagger directly at the assassin's spine, but he hears your attack and jumps to the side, leaving your flying dagger to embed itself into the back of the Sultan's head. The assassin pauses for a second, a pleasantly surprised look on her face, before fleeing the room. Oh shit. The guards rush in as she leaves you, immediately knowing it's all over. Accident or not, you've killed the Sultan. The guards seek revenge, their swords biting into you again and again as they tear you to pieces. You overestimated your own abilities and have failed. Next time, consider your actions more carefully. Okay. Oh, damn it. God damn it. I got really far. This was like the last part, I think. Okay, so at least I had my questions asked. My questions answered about what is this game. It is a text-based adventure A choice and consequence text-based adventure. There were books. There used to be books. I used to rent books in the library where you would make choices and you had to flip to certain pages based on what choices you made, which would further the story. And sometimes you would die very early on if you made a bad choice. This is basically that, but in computer game form. Pretty cool. And, apart from there's some poor writing here and there's some spelling mistakes, and a couple of times I think I got the wrong prompt. You know, when I was climbing the wall, I was suddenly back down with the cannibal priest eating the little girl. Oh, wow, that's a freaky sentence to be saying. But apart from that, pretty cool actually. I think I might do this. I might do another playthrough, see if I can get a better ending. But I'm not gonna voice it. I'm not gonna record the video. This was just kind of a, for fun thing. I thought I'm gonna play this game, so I'll record it, so that my friend, as proof to my Steam friend, so she can see that yes, I did actually play this damn game. So yeah, there you have it. I played the game. Pretty good fun, but really harsh on my voice. I can really feel that. I don't use my voice as much as I probably should. But yeah, there you have it. That's what it is. I hope it wasn't too painful to listen to me doing some really bad voice acting and basically cracking up my voice. I'm gonna shut up now. I wanna rest now. So there you have it, Vlad the Impaler. Hope you enjoyed the playthrough. I had fun reading it. Maybe you'll get more in the future. Who knows? See you around. Take care. Bye.